what's up, everyone? This is Ren with Dance with My Demons podcast. Are you looking to start a podcast? Then let Buzzsprout be the way. Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show. Podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show could be online and listed on all the major podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and many more, just within minutes of finishing your recording. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. With Buzzsprout, you can create something great together. Follow the link in the show notes, which lets Buzzsprout know we sent you. Buzzsprout will send you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it's sent after a second paid invoice. And it helps support our show as well. Buzzsprout, the best way to create a great and professional podcast. Later.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ren, the host of Dance with My Demons podcast. Are you looking to start a podcast? Then let Anchor be the way. With Anchor's creation tools, you can record and edit right from your smartphone and personal computer. Anchor offers 100% free hosting and distribution, so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Anchor allows you to make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Who doesn't want to make money, right? Anchor has everything you need to make a successful podcast all in one place. Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And don't forget to check out my podcast at anchor.fm/dancingwithmydemons69 and on Spotify, Dancing with My Demons. See you all soon. Later. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ren with Dance with My Demons podcast. This is episode 19, and I've entitled it Masking My Triggers and the Fortress of Solitude. On this episode, I wanted to talk about two things, actually. Probably the first one is being careful how we mask our pains and how we deal with the triggers we deal with. I know sometimes, like for me personally, there's been so much going on in my life lately, and it's just been very, very busy and active, and I've been juggling a lot of different things, from work to my personal life to a move that I'm about to do, and it's just a lot going on. So, I know I have to be mindful of how I deal with these changes, because they are also triggers, not just changes to me. So I have to be very, very careful. I know lately, especially this weekend that I'm actually going through right now, it's been very, very active. So active that I haven't really had too much time to settle down and think about things and process and unplug and actually, I guess, balance myself. And because of that, it sets off triggers, and it makes you really uncomfortable. It puts you on edge. It makes you anxious. It could even make you somewhat, depressed. And I think, unfortunately for me this weekend, to mask that trigger and to be able to function and deal with it, it involved alcohol. And that's where we have to be really careful, because it's so easy to get caught up in masking our pain and the need to not want to feel or not want to deal with our emotions or anxiousness or depression. We can mask it, whether it be through alcohol or drugs or eating, or it could be just about anything that we can use to mask our pain. And And when it's something that's not on a positive note, and if it's something that's negative, you have to be really, really careful, because it can impact you in a way that's not healthy. It can really, set things off, like a chain reaction to things that are really negative. So you have to be really mindful of that. I know I have to be really mindful of that. With such, busy things going on in my life, I do have to be mindful to take the time that I need to, check with myself and balance myself. And that's why, I know there are so many people out there that are in a mental illness community and are dealing with bipolar and other mental illnesses, that one of the biggest issues they have with dealing with it is they don't know how to deal with their emotions, so they find other outlets, whether it be, like I said, whether it be drinking or drugs, or even putting themselves in situations that aren't so healthy. Hypersexuality can be very dangerous for some people, or gambling, or it could be any numerous amount of situations that can really cause you problems that you might find yourself hiding behind to mask what the true feelings are, what's really going on in your life. So it's important to be mindful of those things. It's important to have people in your life who understand these things about you and triggers, and allow you that time that you need to really unplug and really, get balanced again. Because it's like a snowball effect. If you don't really watch it or manage it properly, it'll just, the snowball will just keep building up bigger and bigger and bigger, and just before you know it, it's out of control, and you don't have any real control over it anymore. Or what little control you have of it, it's very difficult to manage, and you find yourself, like I said, masking it with other things that aren't good for you. I know that checking in with myself and, I guess, balancing myself, needing that quiet time, needing that isolation that I require, it's very, very important and key to my well-being, because it's like, I guess in some aspects of it, it's like me being a rechargeable battery. After so long of running on the battery without recharging it, you start to wear out, and you get tired, and you get burnt, and you get frustrated, and you get tired and irritable, and it can really throw you off and possibly throw off your thinking and your balance and the way you go about your business. In my life, routine is everything, and stability in my life and routine is key, because that's how I function. When I don't have those things in place, it can make me really uncomfortable, really anxious, really irritable. It can literally just throw things off in my everyday life. That's why I try my best, but it's not always easy. And that's why I'm fortunate in a lot of ways that when things aren't going well, that there are people in place that kind of push me back in line and keep things going for me. And when I do find myself in situations that I'm masking, whether it be through drinking or whatever, I've been fortunate to have people in my life there for me, to watch out for me, to watch out for my own my own best interest, even when I don't always realize it myself. They are there for me. The people that truly love me and care about me do show up and are there for me and help guide me, and sometimes they even make decisions for me that's in my own best interest, and help me through it. And I really do appreciate those people in my life, because it is much needed. Our everyday life, our everyday routines, and the ups and downs and the things that we keep doing, especially if we're trying to manage careers and relationships and just other activities in our life. It's important. I think it's important not just for people in mental illness or people who are dealing with bipolar, but just in general, to remember to take that time for yourself, to kind of give yourself a little breather, because it is important. Like I said, it's key to me. I've realized, like, just this past week, that one of the key elements to what I do and who I am is kind of get lost a little bit because I've been so active and juggling things around and shuffling things around. And I found that I didn't even work out once this week, which is something that's very vital, important to me. And when I realized that I missed certain things in my life, I realized it's because I didn't either manage my time well, or I allowed other pieces of my life to overcome me or take over or become so built up that it almost seemed like, well, the easiest thing I could push aside is working out. And that's not always a good thing, because even though working out seems like just a simple task, it's actually very crucial to my life. It's part of my routine. It's a part of my health. It's a part of my well-being, my mind, my emotions. It helps keep me going and keep me balanced, because everything in my life is always balance. If something or an aspect of my life is not in balance, I end up feeling like pure shit, to be honest with you. I just feel really out of sorts, really irritable, and I can imagine that there are other people out there like that are dealing with it. If you're not really careful, it can trigger you. You can fall down a depressive spiral, or you can even be triggered to go into a manic episode. Unfortunately for me, it just seems to be more of a depressive trigger or episode that's been going on with me a little bit lately. I've just been so busy, so active, so overcome with everything else going on that I don't always have the time to juggle everything that I need to do. So because of that, I become really uneven, uncomfortable, and I find myself scrambling to kind of look for an inkling of time, even if it's something as simple as going to a gas station just to get gas and putting air in my tires for my car. Those moments that I'm by myself are actually very important. Even something as little as that, I get peace of mind because it's just me. And it's important. It's not really so much about, not that you're trying to ignore other people in your life, because it's not the case at all. But it's just more or less about me taking care of myself and putting myself first for a few minutes and taking care of the needs that I need to make sure my health is good. Because, in reality, if my health is not good, I'm not going to be good. And if I'm not going to be good, then there's no way in a million years I can be good for anybody else. So it's important to understand that, for people who are going through similar situations out there like that. Always remember to take time for yourself. I've also been dealing with some issues. Unfortunately for me, my mom recently was hurt at home and got a little banged up, and stuff like that can really trigger you. Because you never, especially your mom, somebody that you love dearly and care about, and somebody who's always been there for you. And when you find out that a loved one, especially somebody as a parent, or your mom or dad is not well or gotten hurt or just going through something, you definitely want to be there for them, but you feel kind of what they're feeling. It's knowing that my mom was hurt, it's scary to me because, I'm her son, and I love my mom very much, and you want her to be well, and you want, that person to be good. And it can trigger you. It definitely triggers me. It definitely added to, some depression. And, you always try to mask that depression when you're around a lot of people, which is really hard. You might keep to yourself, or you're just doing your best to put on a smile for everybody, even though inside you might be hurting, or you're just kind of dealing with stuff that other people just don't realize. So you do your best, you do your best to maintain, I guess, and put on that smile, even though you might not be feeling it. But when you do that, at some point, you do have to give yourself a recharge. You have to recharge that battery, because you can only go so long with putting on that smile or trying to maintain for other people. You could only do that for so long. eventually you're going to come crashing down, or it's going to affect you in a much deeper way. It's tough. Managing life for the average person is tough. Managing life for somebody with a mental illness, it feels even tougher. It's not easy. It feels, everything just feels bigger to me. When you're dealing with something, I guess what some people would consider to be small, I guess for me, it just feels bigger. It feels bigger, it feels louder, it feels worse. It just doesn't feel great. And, it makes it tough to manage, makes it tough to function, makes it tough to be able to manage your day and go about your business. You keep going. You keep doing your best, I guess. But to everybody out there that are dealing with stuff like this, that are dealing with pains privately or in their own personal solitude, please remember to check in with yourself, but also don't get so far inward or away from everybody that you can't get back, because you can really lose yourself in isolation as well. It's a funny balance that you have to manage. And if you become so isolated, it'll just add to your depression and make life even more complicated and make it more difficult for you to get out of that funk or that depression or that quicksand that you might be feeling like you're in. So just, be mindful of that, because I know it's not easy. And I know there are so many people out there that struggle and are struggling. Now more than ever, I guess, with COVID-19 and people dealing with no jobs and being quarantined and not being able to do their regular things. And it's important. So, to all the people out there that are struggling, just remember, don't lose yourself in the rat race of constantly trying to keep yourself busy, but at the same time, don't lose yourself to the isolation. Don't get lost in that fortress of solitude where you can't get your way out, because that's not good either. But so I don't know. This is just an episode that I needed to do, and I'm leading into episode 20 soon. And episode 20, I guess, would be the season finale, which I will have a guest who is very important to me. So I intend to make it probably a longer episode, but a much more important episode to me. So season 20 will be the season finale. And then from that point, I will be taking a few weeks off to kind of reboot the podcast and add some things and change things up a little bit, make it a little more interesting to kick off season 2. But I promise to notify everybody as soon as, it's ready to go up again. But it won't be long, I promise you that. I vowed to make sure that I get an episode out, every Sunday, as I've always have up to this point. But I am going to be taking a few weeks off just to, reboot and take a little break for myself and get new material to work with. And like I said, I want to make the new season interesting and probably a little bit different. So you might see some different changes in the new season, maybe even logo changes for the podcast, but even discussions that I talk about. I want things to be more interesting. I want things to be hopefully more interactive. I want people to be questioning things, asking questions about stuff in mental illness, whether it be personally or with people that are they're involved with who have a mental illness. I want you to be asking questions. I want you to be questioning yourself. I want you to be not just settling in on what you've been doing all along, whether it be through your doctors or taking medication, whatever it may be. I want you to start questioning things, because sometimes it's so easy if you've been doing it for such a while and you fall into such a regimen of doing things that it's easy to stay with the status quo and not change anything because it feels safe. And safe is nice, it really is, but safe can also be bad too, especially if it's not helping you get better or evolve, or if you see a significant difference. You can just be like at a lull, just kind of there. So you will probably not probably, you will most likely seeing a lot of changes in the new season to make things more interesting and, more informative. And, I intend to have the website up and going so people to interact with it, and also an outlet for people to be able to send messages in and to either call in or have message in, and when we can talk about topics that maybe other people have. So with that being said, I hope everybody out there stays healthy, stay strong in mind, but most of all, don't let the demons get you down. Later. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I'll be back with an all-new episode very soon. Until then, you can catch past episodes of Dance with My Demons podcast on anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast on. You can also catch me on Instagram at Dance with My Demons 69, on Facebook, Dance with My Demons podcast, on X at DWMD podcast 69. And also, if you or somebody you know is going through an emotional or mental crisis, 988 is the National Suicide Lifeline. Keep that in mind. We're all in this together, and everybody needs each other's help. So until then, stay strong in mind, stay strong in heart, but most of all, don't let the demons get you down. Later.